Greetings, kindred. Happy full moon. So, yay, we've got a full moon in Ophiuchus. So it's going to be a very magical time for many. Now, there are two sides of a coin with the moon in Ophiuchus, especially, with all the aspects and all the other planetary placements. But that's kind of pretty normal for the Ophiucan energy, since Ophiuchus is about balancing the light and the dark, the negative and the positive, the masculine and the feminine. So, let's get into it actually. So the full moon will reach its peak on the 4th of June 2023 at 4:41 in the GMT time zone, at 13:41 in the AEDT time zone, but will occur on the 3rd of June at 23:41 in the EDT time zone. So for all you guys in the US, the full moon will occur on the 3rd rather than the 4th. Here's the chart wheel for the full moon in Ophiuchus. So we have the moon at 5 degrees in Ophiuchus. Now the moon in Ophiuchus, it's a very feminine energy. So it's really good for women's groups, and it's good for like spiritual practices like shamanism, but it's also good for propagating, especially herbs. So it's a really good time to work the land around about this time. With the moon in a focus, it can also be about mind control or transference, because the moon in a focus, she does happen to be, the master manipulator. But on the whole, this is a very, very feminine energy. So at 5 degrees, now 5 is the number of Mercury. So it's all about stretching the imagination. But in its negative, it can be about plagiarism. Now 5 is a shifting energy, but it's all about self-renewal, or justice. It's about adapting more to mental change rather than physical change. But the mental changes that go on are connected to the material world. So it's like, looking at things in the material world through kind of different eyes. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about that outer consciousness, and it represents like variety. So all about choice. So with the moon in our focus, we can actually be, we do have an ability to control and to direct, but we have to be aware that we're doing that from a good place. Do you know what I mean? So, a focus is very much about the light and the dark. A focus represents Osiris in Egyptian mythology. Ophiuchus represents Enki in Sumerian mythology. Now, with the moon in Ophiuchus, it's more about his wives, and I don't mean like more than one wife by choice. He was actually married to Isis, but he got seduced by Isis' twin sister Nephis, and Nephis was actually his firstborn's mother. So therefore, Isis forgave her sister because she understood all the pain and the conflict she was in and the reasons why she did what she did. And of course, Osiris forgave her too, and ended up adopting the Nephis' child, which was also Osiris's child. So there's a whole history there with the moon. The moon does revolve around Nephis. She was the queen of Maldek, and to me, the moon is the shell of Maldek. Now, also, we have the sun, who's always in opposition to the moon at a full moon. at 19 degrees in Taurus. Now, the sun in Taurus is also, very materialistic. So it is about the material world. So the moon in Ophiuchus is really coming to terms with the changes going on in the world when it comes to our material comforts, but also when it comes to children, because Taurus in the true lifetime sky rules the third house. Now, to me, the third house is about locality. Taurus don't like to move too far anyway, so it is still about locality, but it's mostly about the inner child, the inner desires, environmental conditioning. It kind of revolves around young, youthful energy. And the number 19 is all about children. The number 19 is ruled by the sign of Leo. So it's all about children and young people, and something escalating around that subject. But it's joyful, it's success, it's progress, and it's all about honor and esteem. So I really do feel that if there's any causes we are fighting for out there that revolve around children, I just feel this is going to be quite successful or progressive in some way. So just watch out for that. Now, our moon, apart from being involved in this T-square here, is also involved in a kite aspect. So Mercury came out of post-shadow yesterday. So I know the retrograde itself ended a week or two ago, or about 2 weeks ago, but the post-shadow didn't end until yesterday. And Mercury at the full moon will be in conjunction to Uranus. So again, it does represent this changing of the way we see things, or changes in the way we react to things, because Uranus and Mercury is in Aries. I think it's all about how we react, and that kind of adaptability around energy I will talk about later, because there's other planetary aspects here that also confirm that. So I really do feel we're seeing the world through different eyes. But with the moon in trine to Chiron, it's like we're really highly sensitive at the moment. So our intuition is very, very strong, especially since our moon is in the Ophiuchus, which is a very kind of like an energy. Ophiuchus is an energy of good intuition as well. People can do sound readings or water readings or anything, tarot readings. This is definitely also the sign of the healer. And I feel like healing energy is going to be very, very strong around the full moon. Now, also, we are in a 7 numerological year. So in a 7 numerological year, the full moons are the most powerful in that year. So this full moon in Ophiuchus is going to be super, super powerful for meditations, like I said, for propagation, for rituals, for, anything to do with the earth or grounding, or even herbal remedies, flower essences, anything along those lines. It's also very alchemical. So anything connected around alchemy will be very potent at this time as well. So we could even be getting a lot of downloads around those subjects. So, with the moon in trine to Chiron, Ophiuchus himself, I mean, he's used to rejection. He's used to being repelled by those that don't understand his energy. And, any Ophiuchian out there will know or will, I think agree with me when I say, that we have this ability, just like Pisces actually, to develop this strong intuition where we can read the atmosphere. We can walk into a room and we can read the energy of that room because from young, we've had to learn to do that. And, it's not just Ophiuchus and Pisces that can do that. I mean, if you've got sort of like aspects in your chart involving Pisces or Ophiuchus, you will have that ability. I mean, even abused children in general will develop that ability in their growing up life, learning how to read energy, learning how to read people. Do you know what I mean? So it's like this self-protection thing or, knowing what the next step should be. And I feel this moon in Chiron is kind of bringing up that energy. So either we've become a natural healer because we have developed such a depth of unconditional love. Because even though we can go into a room and read energy, even though there may be someone negative or negative people in that room, we're not judgmental, but we just like to be aware of who is who. And I think that a lot of people are coming into this like awareness right now. So there has been a lot of awakenings going on over the last few years. It's been happening in bouts. And I just feel this full moon, after all the eclipses we've had so far this year, I just feel there's this great awareness that's going on. And the good thing about it, I will get back to the kite in a minute. The good thing about it is it's not really, niggling at our shadow, at our fears or our apprehension. There's no apprehension with this, maybe a little bit, but not as bad as it could be. Do you know what I mean? And the reason why is because Venus, who's just entered into the sign of Cancer, actually at 0 degrees, is in conjunction to the Black Moon Lilith. Now we know the Black Moon Lilith is Nephis, who's also rules the moon. But Venus is the twin sisters, Nephis and Isis, the dark and the light coming together. So when Venus is conjunct the Black Moon Lilith, it actually balances out a lot of the negative side of the Black Moon Lilith's energy. So with the Black Moon Lilith at present in the sign of Gemini, it's all about our way of thinking and our way of even communicating. So I feel we're able to communicate and discuss things of a sensitive nature with a little bit of diplomacy. It's not going to really be, it's a good time to have conversations right now, especially with Venus and Cancer. It's pretty deep. It's a water sign. So we can have like good discussions about our insecurities, about our abandonment issues without, the apprehension or the fear of that being used against us or, maybe coming into courage where we're able to speak up and express ourselves, whereas normally we would hold that down through fear of rejection or abandonment. So it's good for that. So, Chiron will actually be in trine to the goddess Pallas. Now, the goddess Pallas is in conjunction to Mars. So, I will include that. Although Chiron is Pallas is in separation from the trine energy in Chiron anyway, but it's still there. So, this again shows how independent we've become or how we've got the understanding of how to be independent. And we have learned that through experience. So For some of us that have already there from our childhood, we're already in that place. But many over the last few years that have had their recent awakening, I feel are now coming into that independence of thought, you know, independence of like own opinions, of like recognizing certain things that, they didn't recognize before. So I hope I'm making sense here, because Palace is all about recognizing patterns and in all different aspects and in all different areas of life. And, with Mars in conjunction, it shows that, that has been a very active energy, or it's going to be. So I feel a lot of people that have gone through, an awakening recently or over the recent years, they're really coming into a greater understanding and a greater awareness of what's going on around them. And also, getting maybe doing a bit of research in how to become more independent, to become more sovereign without needing other people's approval or following other people's like opinions or narratives out there. That's what I really do feel is going on here. So, and then the goddess Pallas and Mars are in trine to the moon in Ophiuchus. So this moon in Ophiuchus is absolutely powerful. We are all coming into a greater understanding, but we must not try and manipulate others into our way of thinking. Like I said a few years ago, you can put evidence in people's faces all day long, but they will not see it or accept it until they're ready. And, this will always be the case. Yeah, we can like drop, little conversations, but don't get into debates or arguments. It's just not worth it. So we've done the Grand Trine. Now the Grand Trine is water and ether. So ether is actually a combination of fire and water. The one thing Taurus, the Taurian energy can keep us grounded. But I feel our psychic and intuition again is going to be extremely high. I feel there's going to be a lot of dreaming, a lot of downloads, a lot of like instinctive feelings, even to the point, where you just think of someone and they call you. It's going to be that kind of energy. I think this energy, like I said, is very good for working the land, for propagating, especially herbs, or like I said, creating herbal remedies. I would definitely say rainbow crystals will be really powerful in your home right now, or even in your garden, like rainbow crystals, because the seven energy of this seven numerological year is all about the seven rays and the rainbow bridge. So I would definitely say rainbow crystals, even throughout this year, to be honest. I mean, I've got them all over my house, and it's beautiful when the sun shines in and there's just rainbows everywhere. And it really puts in good energy into your home as well. And it's very protective energy. So Chiron will also be in sextile. So the sun is actually at the head of the kite. So it's all about children and material matters. Do you know what I mean? It's all about the inner child. So I feel, also there's a lot of inner child healing that's coming into focus with this full moon. So I feel a lot of healing work. I mean, healers out there, it's going to be powerful time for you. The healing energy right now at this full moon and leading up to the new moon will be very powerful. Although on the 12th, Pluto will retrograde back into Sagittarius. And we'll get into that chart in a little while. So with the sun in sextile to Chiron, it gives us a good sense of our own identity, about the inner child. And again, it emphasizes about us following our own guidance and where we can be the light that gives hope to others. So a lot of people that have come into their awakening process over the last few years, I also feel you are going to be developing your natural healing abilities, or you're coming into recognition of them. And, this is a powerful time for healing. And the sun, of course, is also in sextile to the goddess Pallas. And, this is all about, it's very empowering. Very empowering. I mean, this is like the goddess warrior energy. This is the freedom fighter, but also the diplomat. There's a lot going on in our world right now, but I just feel there's this beautiful energy emerging at the full moon, which is going to really not be so much um, exposing. It's not so much an exposing energy because there's still, the other side of the coin that I haven't spoken about. I'm talking about the energy of light right now, which Ophiuchus, the full moon in Ophiuchus, is emitting. But there is a darker side as well. But that darker side has been going on for quite some time now. And we will get into that, like I said, in a minute. So with the sun in sextile to Mars, because Mars is conjunct the goddess Pallas, it's very constructive energy, very strategic, gives us like the courage, and also gives us clear insight. And our insights that are coming in actually are going to be pretty profound. So that's what I'm saying. Downloads, dreams, whatever the energies are. If you don't know how to interpret your dreams or your visions or your intuitions, like just write it down. It will all make sense later. But I say write it down because sometimes we feel we can hold on to the memory of the vision or the dream, but 9 times out of 10, there are little important points we may forget, so it's so important to always write it down. So keep a journal, definitely. But yeah, I would definitely say if you need healing to get through any childhood traumas, because that's coming up with the darker energy, then, healers out there are going to be, at their best this full moon. So that was the energy of the kite. We're going to get into the darker energy now with this full moon in Ophiuchus. And when I say darker, it's just more of the pressured side of it, with this grand cross here that's been going on for a little while anyway, but just changes players here and there. But we have this T square as well. So, our moon is in opposition to the goddess Juno. And like I said, at a full moon, the moon is always in opposition to the sun. I mean, here in the UK, it's also in opposition to the ascendant. So 15 degrees here in the UK. So I do feel there's some karma being played out here in the UK for those that have been abusing their authority. Like I said before, 15 is an abuse of power. And I just feel it's to do with children. So, normally I see this energy playing out in the USA. But at the moment, it's actually playing out here in the UK. So, yeah, let's watch out for that this full moon. Let's see what comes up around children and abuse of authority. I just feel there's something coming to light around that. And that I've just seen that just now, actually. So this T square is aimed towards Saturn. Right. And again, like Saturn is in the 10th house of Ophiuchus here in the UK, but is in opposition to the 3rd house, which is ruled by Taurus. the inner child. And Saturn actually rules corporations, governments, and stuff like that. So yeah, I just feel there's something occurring around about the full moon or just after the full moon in the lead up to the new moon. So yeah, that's really interesting. We definitely need to watch out for that. Now, with the moon in opposition to the goddess Juno, it can represent relationships as well. So this T square, I mean, it could be to do with marriages or relationships, or maybe relationships we're hanging on to from the past that we feel we have a strong connection with, but actually the feeling's not mutual. So very much when the moon is in opposition to Juno, it shows like a strong emotional connection on one side, but not on the other. Do you know what I mean? So this could be about relationships that have been really out of balance, and there's a need to heal from that. So maybe it could represent, that we've been in a really bad relationship, or we've had a really emotional ending in a relationship and we haven't been able to move on from that. And because of that, we're very shut down where other people can't reach us, or we're, a little bit isolated. Maybe we're a little bit shut down because we feel vulnerable and feel a little bit scared to be hurt again. So yeah, I just feel there's been like this energy of detachment. So this T square is actually telling us that we need to heal those wounds. Do you know what I mean? We need to heal that trauma or that pain, and or let go of someone that really doesn't feel the same way towards us. But again, it could also be about abusive relationships where there could be abuse around children even involved in this. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's what it's showing, that, and I feel it's more the feminine energy that's shut down through bad experience, and that energy will have a great opportunity to be healed this full moon. So this grand cross, I mean, we have, we've got Jupiter conjunct the North Node. So Jupiter at 5 degrees, I mean, Jupiter's all about expansion anyway. And Jupiter's also about our philosophies, our ability to expand, to grow. And 5 is the number of Mercury. I feel that there's this community expansion of meeting of minds, but in a more active way. I do see a lot of people coming together through this full moon in Ophiuchus. Like I said, it's especially good for spiritual groups, women's groups, any kind of groups that really are there for the betterment of mankind. So I just feel that that is going to be doing really, really well, because Jupiter and the North Nodes are kind of involved in this grand cross. I just feel that, yeah, I mean, with Pluto in square to the nodes, it's all about reformation of social and cultural philosophies and institutions. With the nodes in square to Venus as well, and the Black Moon Lilith, this is more about being disrespectful and immoral, so it's all about disrespect and immoral behavior. Now, this could be all to do with the past. It could be connected to this T square that I was talking about a little while ago. But remember, Venus does balance out the negativity of the dark side, the negativity of the shadow. So again, I feel justice coming in. And Cancer The moon rules Cancer, with Venus at 0 degrees in Cancer, it's all about the void. So it could be about where disrespect has been had. There's a balancing occurring around that. But, Venus is also in opposition to Pluto. And that can be very demoralizing. So either in our intimate relationships or our financial relationships. And it really is all about distorted emotions, but also sexual perversion. So I feel there's a lot coming up around this full moon. Yeah, I do. So just be aware of that. Whether that's affecting you on an individual personal level or whether it's within your community or even if it's a global thing. But because the nodes are involved, I really do feel it's more on a global or community level. Do you know what I mean? So I do feel there's something or some sense of justice being had. So overall, although the pressure and the darkness is still lingering, and I do feel that darkness will linger for a little while, although I feel like quite a bit of clearing as I'm doing this, as I'm looking at this chart and reading it, I'm feeling like there's a lot of healing and clearing going on right now. I mean, this could also be to do with, like I said earlier, the inner child, maybe healing past traumas around, abusive situations. Um, Yeah, it's hard to really put this energy into words. Do you know what I mean? Because it can be quite triggering. I do feel there's a lot of triggers going off for people with some deep, deep wounds around childhood abuse. Even relationships that have broken up, where there's still pain lingering there. I would say, this is a powerful, powerful time for healing to begin or to complete. So, I do feel a lot of childhood traumas have been coming up over the last few months with these charts. And a lot of people have had to come to terms with their own issues or have been helping others to come to terms with theirs. But, this is a powerful healing energy, like I said. And I just feel there's a lot of clearing going on right now. A lot of fresh energy coming in. But I want to move on to the Pluto retrograding back into Sagittarius chart because that, as the full moon happens on the 4th, so I would say up until the 12th, when Pluto retrogrades back to Sagittarius, up to the 12th, I would get in as much healing as possible between the 3rd if you're in the USA, but if you're in like the UK going right over to Australia, then definitely from the foot. Well, I would say, yeah, from your listening to this up until the 12th of June, get in as much healing or groundwork as possible. Because by the time the 12th comes, I just feel the energies are just going to shift a little bit onto other things, but still very good energy. Let's go to that chart. So Pluto will retrograde back into Sagittarius on the 12th of June at 13:30 here in the GMT time zone. Now, I think the GMT time zone is the same as the UTC at present. So if you want to look up your own time zone, you can compare your time zone to either GMT, London, or UTC. So here we have the chart wheel for the Pluto. Let me just bring that up. Now Pluto's gone back to 33 degrees. 33 degrees is mastery. So we've been here before because remember Pluto only moved into Capricorn earlier on this year, around about February, I think it was. And, So he's moved back. So whatever was going on between, towards the ending of last year, leading up to February, I feel we're going back to that kind of energy with Pluto. Now, when Pluto shifts, it's a big energy, it's a big shift because he very rarely moves. Do you know what I mean? Or it takes a long time. It takes a couple of months for him to shift 1 degree. So he shifts back to 33 degrees. So we're coming back to a time where we need to master something. And because Pluto's in opposition to the Black Moon Lilith in Gemini and Venus in Cancer, but Venus is separated from the Black Moon now and is at 8 degrees in Cancer. It really is about our concerns or our worries around money or intimate relationships, do you know what I mean? Or about our joys in life. I feel maybe there's a little bit of a shift going on there, especially, since Gemini really does rule the mind. So, with the Black Moon Lilith, though, in Gemini, is all about our identity. So again, I really do feel it's all about, childhood and the mother energy. you know, the moon will be in Pisces. So I feel, there's a lot of healing going on up until the 12th of June. And then after the 12th of June will be the releasing. So, we're all different. We all release in different ways. Some of us may feel tearful. Some of us may get triggered and feel irritable. Some of us may just want to shut off, with the Cancer energy, we may just want to shut off. Some of us may just want to talk. But whatever way it comes out, just know what it is and just allow it to flow. But obviously, do be considerate to those around you, which is a little bit difficult when you're releasing such powerful healing energy. Do you know what I mean? And, I really do feel a lot of people are going to be coming into their spiritual calling, especially with Pluto in trine to the goddess Vesta. Now, the goddess Vesta is here conjunct Uranus. So again, a lot of people coming into their own sense of spirituality. There's changes because Uranus is involved. There's deep and powerful changes going on an inner level. So again, powerful healing time. And with Pluto in trine to Mercury, this is all about getting into the higher mind, getting into that understanding. Well, to be honest, with Pluto in trine to Mercury, this is the aspect of the scientist. It's the aspect of the physicist. So anyone that's into astronomy, science, physics, chemistry, anything along those lines, it's all going to make perfect sense, or it's just going to really flow. So energy in general, like understanding the interplay of energy, whether that be, do you know what I mean? Like vibration, like planetary energies, universal energies, grounding energy, earthing energy, anything, you know, anything along those lines is going to be pretty spot on. So for those of you out there that like to do research and study into any of that, it's going to be a powerful time for that. So, with Pluto in trine to the goddess Ceres, who's in Virgo, I mean, this is an all or nothing aspect. So if we're going to get into something, we're going to be all in. And I feel that when we go all in, because Uranus is conjunct the goddess Vesta, and, Uranus is 21 degrees in Aries, it's very active. And Vesta at 1 degree in Taurus, this is all about our inner desires are going to be powerful. There's a powerful transformation going on with us on a very deep level, spiritually. When it comes to our passion and our desires, it's going to be powerful. The only thing we need to watch out for is not becoming over obsessed with things, over focused on things, so this trine can be all in a positive way, but it can be all in an obsessive way as well. So we just need to watch out for that. Now, we do have Venus also in quincunx to Saturn in Aquarius. So, this aspect really is all about overgiving, or maybe, not recognizing where we've been overgiving. Everything needs to be balanced. Do you know what I mean? Everything needs to be mutual. It's got to be, even when it comes to putting that energy into things, the energy exchange has got to be mutual for it to be positive and, balanced. And we also have the moon conjunct Chiron, whereas the moon was actually in trine to Chiron at the full moon. The moon is now in conjunction with Chiron. So again, bringing up abandonment issues or feelings of rejection. This is definitely a time for us to, get into our self-worth, get into our true identity, and, to be who we are without apology, to be who we are without being judged or feeling like we're being judged. There's been so much of a judgmental attitude over the last few years. Do you know what I mean? It's time for everybody just to be in that place of unconditional love, to do their own healing. So, kindred, yes, it's going to be a powerful time for healing, a powerful time for getting into your healing abilities, a powerful time for working with the land. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. As always, I'm sending you peace and much love. Take care.